guys, welcome back to another episode of Crossing Swords, and it's a special episode, Jake, isn't it?
It is a very special episode. Congratulations, sir.
And I'd just like to say, I'm Andrew. I missed that out of the intro. Very poor intro from me.
And I've been around forever, as we both have.
Yeah, I mean, 100 episodes. Yeah,
This
you
is
had no
100
idea.
episodes. I had absolutely no idea.
I knew it was creeping
Absolutely
up. And like Buzzsprout's quite good because it gives you like a little, you know, you've got X amount of it. And I was like, oh shit, we're on.
Seems like only yesterday we were doing the 69th episode.
Yeah.
Like 100 is just...
And considering how inconsistently we record, we've got through them quite well.
Yeah. Because we, you know, it's, as we
Through
said
work
before,
and
it's
stuff.
tough sometimes to meet up. Congratulations on 100 episodes.
Congratulations to you too, sir. Good old crisp handshake.
Afterwards, when the camera's off, we'll cross swords. Obviously can't do that on YouTube. They have really strict laws about it.
No, for that, we're thinking about setting up a Patreon page, put it behind a paywall.
I think people would pay for it.
I mean, no joke, to be fair. I've been thinking about Patreon.
I mean, like, listen, I think there's a lot of I think when a lot of people listen to this, they probably think, I wonder how big their schlongs are. And this, I think, would
Well, no, I
adequately
think
answer
like
that.
we're getting our platforms mixed up because when I was looking at Patreon, it's very strict on the fact, like, this isn't OnlyFans.
Is Patreon not the one where it has categories where it's like neighbours, hardcore?
Yeah.
That's the categories on Patreon, right?
But yeah, you can make whatever you want basically. And like my idea was we'd literally just have one to begin with, and it'd be like £2 a month, £3 a month, and just be like it's going like you're an OG crossing sworder.
Yeah, we'll give you a little bit extra every.
Within
every
the
couple
view
of weeks
to
kind of
if
thing.
we build it up, maybe have a Patreon special every month. You know, have different tiers, but to begin with, just to maybe infuse a bit of money into the pod, get some new tech, a new camera, who knows, a new computer.
Some new swag, because I'm sure
Yeah,
people
yeah.
notice that I've been wearing
And
the same
like, I've
clothes
just
for
been
like
playing around
5
with
episodes straight.
I was playing around with it and I put in like maybe even the view to one day to not be doing this from the comfort of our parents' homes.
Oh god, yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Should we pick someone else's parents' homes?
Yeah. Whose home are we picking though?
To know, I mean, can't get bigger than mine, can you?
No, if anything, I think like when we're getting the big guests in, they'll find
I'll
it
tell you
too
what.
intimidating.
I hear there's a spare room going to Buckingham Palace.
That's very true.
We could use
Although
that.
I've heard someone else is moving in quite quick.
Yeah,
so
but
be
you
a
know,
bit
they're
of a-
like someone moves in and there's a spare room down the line.
Yeah,
Frogmore or wherever it is.
Maybe we could go stay at Balmoral.
I mean, I would love if I just sort of knocked on the door and they went,
Can I
you know, the
record a
guards
pod?
came out and were like, "Fuck, do you want?" And I'm like, "Just want to record a podcast in one of your spare bedrooms."
Oh yeah, come on in.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we've got the equipment
Do you
already.
need hand setting anything up?
Yeah, Lizzie always did podcasts.
She loved them.
She
She was a big fan of Crossing Swords.
I heard rumours.
I can say that
She
'cause
could never
she's-
say it publicly
she's-
because, you know, she's the monarch. She wasn't
She's
allowed
no
to
longer
have an
come out
opinion.
and she's not going to come out and say no and refute this. But I heard that it's
Could you
pretty
imagine
solid.
if we somehow got an official like proclamation from the royal family to say we want to categorically state
She loved it.
no, that she
She
wasn't.
hated
she'd
it.
never
She
listened
never
to
listened
it.
to it.
That would almost be better.
That would both crush me and lift me in one swift movement.
It would be really funny. So I think I would just see that, I'd be like,
It's
of
a shame
course
she
she
went.
didn't listen
It's
to
a
it.
shame she went when she did because I feel like the 100th would have drawn her in. I feel like
Yeah.
that's.
She,
She had a rule. She was like, never listen to a podcast before the 100th episode. The first 99 are warm ups. 100, that's the
I
go.
was telling my mum it's our 100th episode today, and she was like, "Oh, that's really good." I was like, "Yeah, the Queen never did a fucking 100 podcast episodes, did she?"
She didn't even do 100 years on the throne.
Do you know what I mean? Shocking.
Shocking.
Poor
Real
form.
letdown.
Yeah.
That's probably too soon, that.
So my first question would be,
I'll
hit
tell you what,
your-
I'll say when. You say stop. No, that's one of my favourite scenes.
it's the best.
Okay.
Jake, you've hit your first century as a podcaster. How does it feel?
Feels well. It's a pretty dumb thing asking me because I didn't even know I'd hit it. I didn't even know I'd hit it.
No, but once I told you a couple of days
It
ago,
felt weird because it was like
it
I
was
said,
surprising, isn't
I can still remember the first. See, I mean, we've only been going for like a few years, but I can still remember doing the first one way back when with like and you listen to it now and you think, God, the sound quality is so bad.
I listened to it before record.
I don't know how we listened to that. Listen to it now, and I don't know how we listened to that and thought, great, because we didn't just think that'll do.
I think
We
you're
were
right. I'm
genuinely
gonna
happy
have
with
to
it.
try and re-download it somehow. Record like a message at the start with better audio and be like,
Please stick
"This
with it."
isn't representative
with
of
it.
how the quality is now. Please start
How,
seeing."
how do you feel having made it to 100?
Quite good. I mean, I'd have obviously liked us to be perhaps further along in download numbers and things like that. But I know when we're able to record consistently, the numbers
Do
always
go
bump
up
up.
with it,
And I
yeah.
think if we were able to do it properly consistently, and it's one of the reasons why I I thought about Patreon, because it could be a little way of
An incentive.
well, that, but also I've seen other creators online. Like there's a guy who does Palace content, Hopkins Looks to Curl one, and he has his own
HLTCO.
podcast that you post. No, I haven't subscribed to it, but he's now at a point where
See, I do
that's his
subscribe to
job.
it for that reason. I just say I've listened to a couple, but I don't really listen to them.
But it's about
the idea that I
supporting
can
a
contribute a
content
small
creator.
amount of money each month, and it lets someone live their dream.
Yeah.
Oh, I can do that.
Yeah, and that's why I've liked the idea of Patreon. I think we need to, because there's like a lot. I started like
Doing
playing
the
around
numbers.
with it, and I was just like, oh, this is something that needs to, like, I need your input on like what we're gonna put. And
You're just the ideas man to actually execute anything.
well, no, but I just mean in general. I don't like if it's something big like doing Patreon. That's something we should do.
It's a joint decision.
yeah.
Well, I remember. Okay, so this is like, I guess, a highlight. Was I remember being in Italy. We were on a break from the season, and
I can't believe how personally you took what I did.
I was in Naples, and I remember football correspondent Ashley Jones just went, "Oh, Crossing Swords have released a video," and I was like, "Have I?" Like, you know, I'm sitting right here, and I'm not aware of it, and you've done this little update. I was like, "Bro," I was like, "You didn't even tell me you were doing it."
It was just spur of the
It
moment.
just got released, and I was like, "Crossing Swords have released update." I was like, "Oh, have we?" And so I obviously I had to respond. I just remember thinking, oh, hang on a minute.
In Venice.
There was part. Oh no, that was in Naples when I found out. We were in Venice
But
the
you
next
filmed
day.
it in
We
Venice,
were in
didn't
Florence. Yeah, I filmed it in Venice. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in Naples now. Because I just remember thinking like, but I'm part of Crossing Swords.
Well, of course, but
and I don't know anything about this.
But the thing is,
update.
doing one random video being like, just jokingly, Jake's a selfish bastard, he's on holiday, so we're not recording this week. I didn't think it was something that required.
Well, it was the
two
first
people.
time we'd ever done an update.
Yeah.
And I was not
I
aware
didn't
that
really
we
think
were,
of it like that, to
I
be
was
honest.
not aware that we were doing an update. I just got told we'd done one.
Yeah, but I think it led to some good content. You
It led to
releasing a
It led
video.
to some great content, and I'm very pleased that it happened the way it did. But there was definitely, it's very clear in my mind, being in the bedroom, in the hotel room in Naples, and
in
being
like,
like,
what?
and just Ash, just looking up going, oh, Crossing Swords have released a video. And I was like,
Could you have,
wait, what?
Like, could you have imagined if it was like a full episode of me with someone else? Yeah.
That might have taken the biscuit.
Yeah, if I was like, all right, Jake's not here this week, so I got
That
in.
might have warranted a bit more than a response in Venice.
Yeah, it would have been a very angry response from Venice.
I'd have been like throwing metaphorical swords in the fucking river. I'd have been like, fucking.
I wouldn't do that to you, bro.
And I
I'm
would
not
never do
that
that
kind
to
of
you. I would
podcaster.
never do that to you. Would I go on after you died? If I managed to survive? Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
The thing is, I reckon you pray for that if I do get a terminal diagnosis, that it takes me quickly to the point where I don't have the strength to
God,
carry
yeah, I
out
want
your
you
murder.
I want you to be like bedridden
Yeah.
before you find out it's terminal.
Yeah, well, I'm bedridden by the time I find out.
Oh
do you
God,
know what
yeah,
I mean?
like
Yeah.
that's my hope.
Yeah. Just
I mean,
very excruciatingly painful and horrible death.
I love you, bro. But if you're gonna go,
And to be honest, though, the worse my death is, the better it is
For
for
the pod.
you post. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I can really milk it.
Yeah.
It'd be a good chance to test my acting chops.
You can
I don't
film.
have to pretend that I cared about you.
You can film me like giving inspirational quotes
From a
to
distance,
release.
though. I don't want to get too close because I know what your intentions are.
That's a very good point. Get Leanne to film.
Yeah, Leanne can film them.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
I stare Jake dead in the eyes when that's playing. Like,
As if I'm actually going to keep her name out of my mouth.
no, you
Would
find
you
it
rather
hard
me
to
keep her name out of her mouth or her out of my mouth? Yeah.
Wow. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response. You leave my missus alone. She's a lovely lady.
That's why I keep coming back.
Feel the same way about your mum
All right, but you know what? We've all said some things. Okay, things got heated.
and your brother.
Hey, fair game.
Your dad's alright too.
At least keeping it in the family.
Always.
Family business is thriving. I would say this: if you had any particular lows over 100 episodes, because I know I do.
I think the one that's consistently difficult is when we're like, our schedules don't mix, and it's like I'll be like, there'll be times I'm like in the mood to do it, and then I'm like,
Then I'm not, or vice versa.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not.
like
I'm well up for it. I've got.
But yeah, there's been times where, like, particularly it was back when I was a manager, like balancing the stress of being a manager, trying to see my missus, spend time with the family, and do the pod. There was just times where I was just like, oh, it's just
Yeah, and the pod fell on a back burner a lot of the time because of that. Yeah, no, 100%. And there's been periods where I've been like that.
I tend to not feel that way as much now. I've got a far less stressful job.
Far less stressful misses.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I said it as a joke, but you've just said that she was a problem in the early days.
Was I with? No, I wouldn't have been.
I mean, look.
Fair enough. I'm getting my timelines mixed up.
Am I stirring
it's the
things up?
missus I'm with now.
Yeah, am I stirring things up? Yes. Yes, I am.
No, like my missus wasn't stressful, but like the schedule of managing everything was stressful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like living between two homes. I was living with her, living with my mum. It was just.
That's just selfish, really, isn't it? I mean, think how many people out there haven't even got one
and
home,
and
you've got two. And I'm the rich one.
First world problem.
And I'm the rich one.
Yeah, but yours is like 3 times larger than both.
It's
of them
like
put
two.
together.
It's like two.
It's more than 2.
It's like several.
It's on top of that hill, Golden Gates.
Yeah, you don't want the poor people climbing up.
It's really famous.
Poor
in the
people are all
area.
fat
People
now anyway.
talk
You don't
about
want to get them up. The uphill is really good because it keeps them down.
They're too weak.
They're too weak.
to
We don't
manage to
feed
get
them
up
enough.
the
They're
hill.
malnourished.
They're either too fat to get up the hill or too undernourished. So yeah.
It's the sweet spot.
And then you got the moat for the zombies.
I mean, no,
Just in
you
case.
got a moat. That was a good. I quite liked that episode when we did the zombie thing because I think
Yeah.
we both had an idea of how each of us would react,
Yeah.
and yet I think our own positions were ever so slightly different.
I don't expect to be a leader in a zombie apocalypse, but I want to be kept alive at the same time.
That was, I'll tell you my low points.
Mm?
Definitely Zoom.
Oh god, yeah, I forgot about
There
Zoom,
was
to be
some.
honest.
There was some of the Zoom episodes. I think we put out some really good content, and I do. When I've listened back to them, I'm quite pleased with what we did churn out.
Yeah.
But I could definitely tell that towards the back end of them Zoom ones,
We weren't up for it.
the quality did just wane, and I think it was so obvious that personally I can only speak for myself, but it's so obvious that I wasn't committed to it.
No, and I think you were the first one to say like,
I'd rather not.
And I was like, no, that's absolutely
Yeah, there
fine.
definitely was a point where I was like, if we're not doing it in person, I
Because
just
the thing
can't.
is, ultimately, if we're not enjoying it while we're doing it, it's pointless doing it. Because we're like, even if you've
Well, the
got
whole
the best
thing is,
content, you're just not.
Not to sound like a young person here, but it's an energy, it's a vibe. So if we're not vibing, if we've not got the energy right,
And to be honest,
it comes across.
there's a lot of people out there that agree with us. Like, I don't like listening to podcasts that are done over Zoom. It doesn't work. My favourite podcast at the moment, they've never done it over Zoom. And
Second favourite podcast.
Well, that I listen to. Yeah.
Implies that you don't listen to this, but
I
we'll
do
move
listen
on.
to this,
We'll
but
move on. We'll move
You
on.
can't pick your own
We'll move
podcast,
on.
don't you?
You
can
absolutely
if you
can.
like.
You absolutely can. I'm so biased.
Or should I say my favourite podcast produced by someone else?
An acceptable answer.
Yeah.
Absolutely acceptable
I'll
answer.
change it to that to make you feel better.
Acceptable answer. Well, I mean, it makes it, obviously looking back on the last years and the way it's fallen in is, and we've said before that we come into it, one person's done a lot of research or notes and stuff, and one person hasn't. So today, when we got here, like you literally leaned across and went, "Look, I've got like 3 pages of notes," and I went, "I've got 3 notes." Like opened my notes app on my phone, and I've literally got 3 notes. And I swear to God, one of them highlights, which I get we can cover, and then the other highs and lows.
What's
including
under
Zooms.
highlights? Is it just the word highlights?
No, I figured I'd wing it. I figured that would be enough, and I'd go from there.
Well, I wrote down some of my favourite moments.
Sure.
They're not in any particular order, but one was the 9/11 / Maddie McCann.
That's
episode.
That's in my highlight.
Because what I remember was how angry you made me and the smug look on your face that
Because
we
I
were
just
finally
knew
falling
that
out.
it was going to play so well. And the thing is, every time you looked at me smiling, it made you worse.
Yeah.
It
And at the
like riled you up.
At the end, you looked like really proud of yourself, and I was just like, fine. That was good.
But I really enjoyed. I thought we both came with some really interesting content.
Yeah, no, I agree. The next one, or the next 2, are semi-recent. I'll go with the one that's the least recent, Ash and his Champions League comment, because we just lost it in the room.
Yeah,
doing that football episode.
It went.
Where he basically, and he misspoke, and he has clarified it since, but I don't care. But basically, he was like, anyone can win the Champions League, it means nothing.
Yeah, it's a nothing trophy, basically, is what it amounted to.
But it was just so funny in the room, the way he just discounted it, that we were like, oh shit, it means nothing. Sorry.
No, I have to say that they're always good. And like I said, the ones where we were doing the conspiracy theories and stuff, I was hooked in the room when you were going through your thing.
Yeah.
I was hooked. I was like, I want to know more.
Yeah.
And obviously, my a recent highlight / lowlight was the episode where we brought Alex in.
Yeah.
It was one of my favourite episodes to record.
Yeah.
I had so much fun. I laughed so much, and at the same time, Alex actually got really kind of like
he took charge at one point.
Well, he got a bit stripped back. Like there was a little bit of vulnerability. Like I'm not saying he come on and he broke down or anything.
Like genuinely,
he was really sweet.
My sister listened to that episode and she said Alex sounds like one of the nicest people.
Yeah, he was really sweet. He was really inspirational. I think he really lifted the tone. Which, to be honest, we're both guilty of. There is no tone.
No, we're quite happy to go as low as the mood takes us.
Alex came on, and then I listened to it back, and it was like you recorded it through the fucking laptop, so you were the loudest. Then you hear a little bit of Alex, and I just sound like I'm shouting from another room.
That's under my. I put like embarrassing moments, and number one was the Alex episode because it was
such a good episode.
Arguably one of my favourite ever to record.
And we will get him back in, but there was something magical that happened.
It was one of the first times I was properly playing with the sound effects. And you two created a moment where I could do the John Burko order moment.
So funny as well.
And both of you froze and looked shit scared and like stared at me.
Because it literally, when I'm listening to it back, even once I kind of adjust to the fact that the sound quality is off and I sound like tinny and Alex sounds a little bit loud. And even when I adjust to that, there's moments where we just all sit in silence because the sound will play and then laugh. Like, it just kind of goes dead for a few seconds. Then we go, that's so good. Yeah. And it's like, bro, that makes no sense to me sitting at home. It means nothing.
Yeah. And I think
that
such
a magical moment.
There's actually a level of charisma to Alex that I think goes like, he's quite a charismatic guy because he's very warm.
I love Al. Al.
He is who he is. Like there's no airs and graces with Alex. There's no like pretense. Alex is Alex.
Well, you know,
he's just a great line bloke.
I think it's Funny Girl the song's from. I might be wrong.
Who's it sung by?
I don't know because it's a musical. It's a musical number,
okay.
And it's I am what I am.
Oh, that.
But there's a line in it that goes, "Your life is a sham unless you can scream out, I am what I am." And it's a kind of, and I feel like Alex embraces that. He is what he is. Like there's no.
Yeah, and I don't feel like he gives a shit what anyone thinks of him. He just wants to be a nice bloke.
We've bullied that out of him.
No, that's very fair. But no,
absolutely. Hold on a minute. Don't say it's very fair for my kind of bullying. You should be defending us and say we're not bullies.
Well, no, what I'm saying is it's good that he doesn't give a shit that we're bullying anymore.
He cares that we bullied him so much. He doesn't care that we're bullying him.
Yeah.
Real reflection upon us.
Yeah.
Do you think we've grown as podcasters over the 100 episodes?
Absolutely. I actually feel like in terms of the conversations that we've been having, particularly recently, I feel like they've been a lot better. And I think part of that is, and my sister, and I'll give her a shout out, she sort of called me out on it because she listens to the pod more or less every week. And she said to me, if me and you were discussing that, you would go further with it. So she was like, I can hear in your voice that sometimes Jake says something back and I can hear you disagree with what he says, but you're not saying it. And she said, you're not like taking it that bit further.
I can understand why you hold your tongue when you come out of shit like fucking pork scratchings and crisps. Do you know what I mean? I get it. I get that.
I was dying on the hill of mini cheddars.
No, but you really died on that hill.
I really wanted
I would say rather than this is the hill I will die on.
How much of that do you think was me just enjoying how much you were hating?
100%, like 90% of it. But I would say what it ended up being was not so much this is the hill I'll die on. It's more like this is the small lump of grass that I will commit suicide on.
But yeah, and she said to me, like, if me and you were having that discussion,
you'd go further, you'd
go further. And I was like, and I went away and thought about it, and I listened to a couple of episodes, and I was like, yeah, she's absolutely spot on. So, like, more recently, when we talked about stuff like last week with the Queen, I feel like we had a conversation to a level we perhaps weren't having before.
Yeah, can I just sort of like retroactively sort of adjust my position on the Queen from the other week?
Yeah, of course.
Because when I listened back to it, I was like, I'm getting really animated about it, and I got really passionate about it. I was like, I don't really give a shit. I was like, I do not care as much as I made out in that episode. And I'm listening to it back, I'm like, wow, I sound like I have really strong opinions on this.
Yeah.
And then when I was like, I don't know. And
well, no, to be honest, neither do I.
I say this, I don't want to abolish the monarchy altogether. I just want to remove him as head of state. That's what I want.
That's fair.
But
I mean, I disagree,
I
got
really into it in the episode, and I was just
I
was listening back to it thinking like, I don't give a shit about this. Why am I getting all animated?
My sister
I just got caught up in it.
She agreed with you about mini cheddars, But
It's because that's a fact.
but she agreed with me about the Queen.
Yeah, fine, you can have the Queen. But I'm not having
I'm
mini
still
cheddars.
right about
I'm not
mini
having
cheddars,
I mean, mini cheddar's own website. We're not getting into this.
And my other favourite moment was the mini cheddars and Queen episode
Yeah,
because
the mini cheddars was.
that was such a fun episode and we got so animated. So I think we'll have to try and do like food themed.
Well, I think you said it during
often.
the episode. It's like it's always food.
Yeah,
Food like is such a big part of our lives that's always what
and we're
splits us.
both very
It's always
fussy
what splits
people
us.
as well.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah. So yeah, those are some of my favourite moments.
Do you get from friends and family as well? You've just sort of said you do. You know, what do you feel like when you get if you get compliments on the podcast? Do you get?
I don't get many, to be honest. We don't have a very we have a very good loyal listenership. They're just not very vocal.
I'll say this.
We consistently get like the same download numbers, but they just don't.
But friends of ours, Alan and Jenny.
Oh, they
big
loved
shout
it.
Out. But
Yeah.
Alan, I was talking to Alan today, and he said he really enjoyed the last
Did
few
he?
episodes. And it's nice, it's encouraging, and it makes us feel like
Yeah.
it makes me feel like we're doing the right thing, you know, because I'm enjoying them, and
Yeah.
it's nice to hear that they're being enjoyed. You
Yeah.
know, it's like a nice.
Well, I feel like if people enjoy,
Also, he said they have a little stopwatch with them sometimes to see how long it takes us to go into politics.
oh really?
Just to mention it.
The problem is it's so difficult, and we're going to do it now probably. But like with everything that's going on, and with how passionate about
Life.
we are in terms of like people just not being fucked over. There's just moments where I'm like, and no one's talking about it. Do you know what I mean? And this is like my only outlet for it. I can't go down the pub with everyone and start talking to them about Brexit. They're just not.
Although, do you know what? When we were at football today, we did all discuss the mini budget.
Oh really?
Yeah, like literally everyone all around going,
Yeah.
what the
Yeah.
fuck was that about?
Yeah.
Was kind of the general consensus. But there you go, Al and Jenny. There's your. You time it.
Yeah.
There's your. What?
We
What
might
does,
have
how
to
long have we
get,
been going?
Alan on at some
How
point.
long have we been going?
22 minutes.
22 minutes. There you go. 22 minutes. There's your political.
Yeah. But I might have to get Alan on at some point because I've known him almost as
Alan
long as
on,
I've
Dave wants to
known,
come on. I'm always happy to get Dave.
Oh,
on.
I'd have Dave on. I've got a lot of stories that we could talk to Dave about.
Oh yeah. Do you know what I was
how
telling-
okay with it do you reckon he's going to be? Has he said like what
I
he's...
know. Oh, I don't know. He hasn't said what he wants to discuss, but he's
Okay.
well up for coming on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we've got some Dave stories. We'll save them for the Dave episode.
Oh, absolutely. We're not going to spill them now. We just got to make... If he's not okay with them, then the episode before we're going to sit and discuss Dave before he comes on to paint a word
Here's
picture
a few
of
things
Dave.
you don't know about Dave.
And I've got quite an emotional story about Dave. I think I've mentioned it on the pod before. I don't think I've ever named him when I've told the story. But it'll be nice to like embarrass him on
In
the
a nice
pod.
way.
Yeah.
Let's hope as well. Let's hope we give these future guests the respect of getting the fucking tech right.
Well, now the problem since it's never been because now in my head it's
You always
embedded.
check.
Has that been done? That's one of the first things I do now. But yeah, it's so, like I say, it's so disappointing because that was honestly such a good episode
It's
and
a
it
good episode.
deserved.
It's the lost episode now, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, even like when we get him back on, I've no doubt it's going to be just as good, but it just won't.
It's that magic, the
Yeah.
magic that was in the room that day.
Yeah, because like Alex just
You
turned
relaxed
up
into it.
and just smashed it out of the park.
First few minutes, maybe a little bit.
To be honest, even then, like, I think
he really quickly came
I
into
think
it.
we were comfortable because it's Alex. We're not nervous about talking to Alex,
No.
and he was like, "Oh, all right, this is
Just
we're
chat.
down the pub." Do you know what I mean? And that's what to be honest, that's exactly what
It's
our
what we
mission
pitched it.
statement
It's what we
was.
pitched it when
when
we
we
pitched it to
started.
each other.
Mm,
It was just we're in the pub together,
yeah,
and you're just listening in. You're on the table next to us, and you just overheard two gents talking. You think they sound like such interesting chaps. I'm gonna slowly
what sort
sip,
of places do you
slowly
hang out where
sip my
people talk
pint.
like this?
Very pervy places.
yeah.
Very pervy places. The
Yeah.
kind of places where blokes like me are allowed. The kind of places where blokes like me don't stand out.
Yeah,
Those kind of places.
that's a concern, isn't it?
Yeah, that whole
I bet it's like a
Groucho,
vegan pub, isn't it?
the whole Groucho Marx thing. You know that I don't want to be a part of. I don't want to be a member of any club
Is it
that
a
would have.
trans vegan pub, Jake?
Look, is there meat?
No,
No.
other than yours.
Are there predominantly is the gender a spectrum in this pub? Yes, as it is in life.
Yeah,
Okay, we're just reflective of life, just with less meat and more protests.
and less straight people.
And look, are there straight people in this place?
Very few.
No, No, but that's fine. Okay.
Not that there's anything wrong with non.
But what you're
straight
implying
people.
now is that, because I've set it up as a pervy pub, is that all
Yeah,
non-straight
I haven't
people
done
are
well
pervy.
there, have I?
So
I've not done particularly well.
well done. You've
But
just
I'm an
moved,
ally, Jake.
You've just moved from let's attack women every week to let's attack the queer,
That is a
community.
community I really shouldn't be targeting.
I mean, to be fair, like I'm gonna go political.
yeah.
Under this current government, you're literally you're picking the right side. You're just leaving yourself with the straight white men, and fair enough. It's the side to be on at the moment. They're the ones that are benefiting.
The thing is, though, what's really annoying is I've always had lots of female friends. I've always got on well with women, and I've been. I don't want to be that guy that says I've had gay friends. You know what
I mean, you are though.
I've dated gay women.
Dated gay men.
Yeah. Why not?
It'd be weird if they were straight.
Yeah. Me and
You have
Ash-
dated a lot. You have dated a lot of gay women though. There was like a little string.
Not a lot of
No, but there was a little string where you kind of. Right. Okay. But do you know that Doofenshmirtz quote from Phineas and Ferb? It's
Yeah.
like a really great quote where he goes, "If I had a nickel for every time that happened," he said, "well, I'd have 2 nickels," which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. And I feel like it's such a great quote, but I feel like that applies here.
I think
You dated like 2 women back to back
I'm
where they
just
both
a-
came out as gay almost immediately after they
I'm a
dated you.
comfortable, amazing guy who's just phenomenal
Who's
in bed.
just
So like, they
just-
wanted to give it a go
Who's just feminine enough to
to
make
make
them
it
think,
comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
To make
yeah.
them think, to sort of
And I'm fine with
transition
that.
into gay. And to kind of be like, yeah, I could be with a woman.
Well, the line from one of the girls was actually, I really so embarrassing.
Came in a letter, didn't it?
No,
No,
it
not
was,
a letter, like a message.
It was by text,
Yeah.
yeah. And one of the it was a very long message, but one of the final bits was, I realised, because I knew she was bisexual when we started dating. I was aware of that going in. And like, it feels like like it could be taken as like
felt like it in reading. It felt like it in
backhanded,
reading.
but it was like I realised I was gay because if I couldn't be happy with you, a really lovely, genuine guy that I genuinely like, then I can't be.
Yeah, on
with
the one
any
hand,
guy.
you're like, that's really sweet. But on the other hand, it's like,
oh, I made you realise if men weren't. for
yeah.
you. But in fairness, the girl I dated, the other one who turned out to be lesbian, she came out as lesbian like 5 or 6 years after I dated her. So you can't really.
I'm giving
correlate
you
the
the win, bro.
two.
I'm giving you the W.
It's not a win, is it?
Win for the gay community.
What do you mean it's a win for the
They got one in the bag.
Is that what
They converted
is
one.
it about point scoring, is it?
Might as well be. Everything's competition if you want it to be.
I don't think sexuality should be.
I disagree. I'll fight you over it.
I'm
Naked.
Com-
We'll naked wrestle over it.
I'm comfortable enough in my sexuality that I don't need to compete.
But you do want to do the naked wrestling.
Well, yeah, but that's not a sexual
Okay,
thing.
well, no, obviously, like,
I mean, it's slightly sexual. I
neither
mean,
of-
it'll be sexual for people watching.
yeah, like
but-
neither of us get full hard. You get a semi on.
I mean, it depends how aggressive we get.
You do love it rough.
Like, Jake sent me a text to say he was going to be late for the record. And I responded, "You're like, a good spanking's in order." And I was like, "Once that's done, we'll punish you." So, yeah.
You like what you like.
I do. Going back to the matter at hand, is there anything you'd like to change / do differently / improve about the pod?
My main gripes with the pod and not being able to commit to it as much as I'd want to is that simple. There's early on in the run, we did a couple of deep dives, and I love doing them.
Yeah.
But they require so much. Because the thing is, I mean, we present maybe this much data,
Yeah.
but we've researched this much to try and find the good bits and
Like when
also
we've
try and
done-
corroborate them and make sure that they're
Yeah.
sort of very relatively trustworthy figures and stuff that we're presenting. And I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed doing it, and I really enjoyed.
But you need the time to do
But
it.
it takes a lot of time to do it, and the energy to do it, and sort of working full time and stuff with both of us. It's really, really tough to
Yeah.
fit in, and I mean, like, the amount of times I'm just tired at the end of a day, and I know that's like a normal thing, but what it means I
But
don't
then
have time
feeling
to sit up
motivated
and
to
do a bit of research.
Yeah.
So that's my main gripes of it, is not being able to do that. I'd like to have more guests on and vary the guests.
Yeah.
But But other than that, no, I think we're getting there. I think it's ups and downs, but we make more ups than downs. We make more steps forward than we do backwards.
I do feel like we have improved, and like I said, I feel like the quality, particularly recent, of the conversations we're having have improved. We've been more willing to disagree, and like you'd think it would be awkward afterwards, but like we're like, no, it's right, it's cool.
No, I just brush it off.
Yeah,
like I said, like you said with the 9/11 one. I was so happy because I knew how good it'd sound.
Yeah.
I knew how good it'd sound because we just...
And then I fucked up the audio on that one as well.
I think we'd even done an episode where we both, like, caveated it at the start and we preempted it and went, we're going to really disagree this one. And then we didn't. And it turns out we both had the same opinion on it. It's like, oh, I thought you felt differently. It's like, yeah, I thought you felt differently. But okay, congratulations.
Yeah, so maybe in future we need to check.
And that's... Yeah, but then you don't want to...
No,
you
that's the
want
problem.
to leave it for the...
Like, I've got questions in here, like, because I sat and listened to the first episode, and I've just got, like, little bits, and I thought, no, I'm not going to text him beforehand. I want to put him on the spot.
I think that's one thing that I would have... If I could go back, and I will ask you 2 questions after this, one just being sort of mirroring what you've just asked me. If I could go back and give myself advice from episode 1, I'd say record it.
Yeah.
Don't release it.
It's interesting how often that comes up because I'm part of a few like Facebook pages like podcast advice, and like there's some people on there with like big download numbers giving advice, and one of them is like, for anyone thinking of starting one, they said record anywhere from like 5 to 10 episodes, but don't
work
record
out your
them.
kinks, get your format.
Yeah,
all that stuff.
get comfortable with being with a mic, talking.
We just did it to see whether we felt there was enough there, whether there was enough to fill the airtime, whether we'd be able to do it enough, and we ended up, what we did was we had no structure. We bounced from like 3 different topics that were completely unrelated. I think we did football, I think we did films, and I think
I've got exactly what we talked about. I wrote notes about what we talked about,
and I think we literally bounced from them. There was no connection, no correlation, which on the one side did give us our you know, our love of a very, very non-existent transition from topic to topic, you know, these non-existent segues.
Yeah.
But I think it was good, and we would have listened back to it and gone, hey, man, there's something in this. And then we would have worked out a format. We would have worked out a thing, and we would have worked out. So I think that. So, but what I would ask you, 1, do you think there's anything you want to do differently or would improve?
No,
or 2, yeah, what would you go back and tell yourself going back to that first episode?
In terms of like what I'd do differently, so the only thing I would do is I'd love to be able to like upgrade the gear we use. Not necessarily the mics, fine, brilliant.
No, you mean gear.
No, but like the camera.
Well,
I'd love to be able to have a better computer for it.
You mean gear? I get it.
I don't mean that gear.
You're a geezer.
No.
You mean gear?
If it makes you feel better, that's exactly what I mean. Allegedly.
Yes, officer.
But yeah, I'd love to be able to like upgrade the tech. Do you know what I mean?
I know
have
exactly
a faster computer.
I know exactly what you mean.
And better camera, those sort of things.
I know exactly what you mean.
And obviously, my absolute dream, and so many podcasts I listen to, they like keep upgrading their studios and things like that. There's one I've listened to where they moved from like a cupboard, and they've now got like a fuck off big studio, and they've got a tennis table, and all this shit, and it looks brilliant. It's like, oh, I'd love that.
What would we get? I mean, I'm not that bothered about a table tennis. Like pool table, I prefer a pool table.
No, I'd be far more interested in like the actual setup of what it will look like on camera, because obviously the table's off camera. It's just like they've got a big space.
No, but off camera. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like where we're kind of attaching the mics and stuff. It kind of you know, you can't always see. I'd like to be able to get a better setup so we could see.
Absolutely.
But yeah, all that kind of stuff. We've grown all that. We've improved all that.
Yeah, absolutely, and that will keep happening. But that's one of the reasons why I'd like us to consider Patreon.
Yeah,
because it's a way to sort of accelerate that process, and like the better we can make this, the more followers it will get. And
as there's some episodes we take a step back, but we take more steps forward than we do backwards. But what would you give any advice to yourself if you went back? Just relax.
Having listened back to the first episode again today, I could hear it. Like I was constantly laughing to feel nervous energy. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and now we just let the silence play out.
Yeah, sometimes you need to. Like, what makes me laugh is when I like read a lot of stuff online where people talking about podcasts. They're like, "How much time do you spend editing out the silences, the ums, the ahs?" And
we just don't have much, to be honest.
But like,
also leave them in. Yeah.
But yeah. Well, like, why are you doing that?
Sometimes it really
it's such a waste of time. Like editing the audio for this podcast takes me 2 minutes. The video takes longer, but that's mainly the rendering. But
it's all the special effects I asked to be put in afterwards. I asked to be touched up visually.
I did manage on the last episode that as we went like that again, because I can sometimes I can't always find when we did that. But yeah, I managed to do it. So it was a bit like Rafa Benitez on that with Sky Sports.
With the, yeah.
Yeah. So I managed to do that.
I like the one where he gets like shook up. Mick McCarthy, whoever it is, gets like shook up by the little thing appearing.
But like, I'd like to, like, if we had Patreon, fund maybe us both going on like a video editing course or something like that. All those sort of like little things just to up our skill levels and
to be able to download some proper software as well as upgrading the hardware.
Yeah.
Upgrading the software.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of some technical lingo there for the old listeners. Probably don't know what we're talking about. We're very technical.
I think they know what software and hardware
I don't think
is.
they do.
Oh, they're all idiots.
I didn't say idiots. They're just not in the know.
They're not technically savvy.
They're not in the biz.
Okay, fair enough. They don't understand.
No, they don't. You know
what it's like being a broadcaster.
Exactly. I thought you were about to say what it's like being abroad. Like,
what a really old way of being misogynistic.
Someone's got to be.
Or did you mean abroad as in going on holiday?
I meant on holiday.
Oh, right. I thought you meant
no,
a really old-fashioned
well, it's like being abroad, eh? See here, eh?
In exactly that accent. But yeah, just chill out more, be more relaxed with it. But like, I don't judge myself for being like that before because I did.
It's a learning curve.
Yeah, but yeah,
neither of us done anything like this before. When we sat down to do it, literally neither of us had done anything like this.
No. So we've had to like learn as we go. I went from like never having edited a video to having to be able to like sync the audio to a video file by eye and all those. It is actually, to be honest with you, I was just so illiterate when I started.
When you get it, you get it.
Yeah.
But when you don't, I was trying to pick you up, but
no, like nothing I do for the pod is like particularly difficult. Just sometimes it can be a bit time consuming.
Nothing I do for the pod. I mean, literally 3 notes.
Yeah, like, well, for me, because I want it to be longer form, I sort of sometimes see it as my responsibility to make sure I've got enough notes to, like, if we go off track or, like, if we're struggling a bit, I can be like, oh, yeah, let's talk about that. But yeah, that's it for me.
Is there anything else in there that you have got 3 pages of notes. Is there anything else in there that you'd like
We've covered that question because I was going to ask, do you feel we've improved over the 100 episodes? And I think we've both said yes. But yeah, the first episode was 3 years ago. I couldn't believe it when I saw it was 3 years ago. In the first episode, the first thing we mentioned was the Brexit Party had been voted into the European Parliament.
Oh, wow. That dates it.
Yeah. We were discussing Brexit and the struggle regarding the Good Friday Agreement, and I put in brackets that's still not resolved.
Yeah, that's not. If anything, it's further away from being resolved.
Yeah. We discussed football, the fact Liverpool missed out on the title despite getting 97 points, and we said that they haven't bottled it. And then my follow-up question was going to be, last season they arguably did even better than that. Well, they did do better than they did that season,
and
but still basically won nothing apart from one cup, wasn't it?
Did they win the League Cup? Or the FA Cup?
I feel like it was the FA Cup. I don't feel like they've been excited about the League Cup.
Didn't they beat Chelsea on penalties or something?
Yeah, it weren't great. But yeah, they went from potentially having the quadruple on. I mean, it was unlikely because City were in the driving seat for the league. I know they slipped towards the end.
I know, and ended up having nothing.
But yeah, ended up with basically nothing. Do you think they bottled it?
I don't think they bottled it. I just don't think they've recruited well. I think they never built on their squad.
Yeah, it's ageing, isn't it? And I just think it's a mentality thing. I think it would be impossible after having missed out on all of that
I've said for a couple of years the biggest difference between Liverpool and City is the squad depth. Like,
and the resources.
1 to 11, Liverpool, as we've seen against City on a number of times, like they're perfectly fine. But it's when they get an injury or when players get tired towards the end of the season, like you said, they've got old players.
Yeah,
it's like, who do they bring on? It's like, Jesus, man, like literally the first reserves are kind of crap. No offense to the Liverpool backup, but they're not good. They're not title contenders.
No, they're not.
They're not even Europa League contenders.
No.
Do you think they bottled it?
It feels, I would say no, because to go that deep in all of those competitions and compete, see Jake smirking.
I just went off on the word deep.
To go that deep.
I just went off. That's what she said.
Because you went deep.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
We need to get, and that's what she said. What have you got that's even remotely close?
You're going to learn today.
You thought you knew what deep meant.
You're going to learn today. I don't know. Pad for a second while I have a look.
Sure. So.
Oh, we've got
Mama like that. Mama like that.
Yeah, we've got that one.
going deep.
Mama like that. Mama like that.
Yeah, to go that deep, Jake, and do it in every
I
competition.
couldn't help myself. There's just something. It's like when someone says the number 69 or something. You just can't help it for like a little half a second. You're a 13-year-old boy.
I was sorting through some clothes today, and I found an old Palace top, and it's the yellow one with Nutella on.
Yeah, with like the little blue.
I didn't realise on the back I've got big and then 99. And I'm like, why did I choose 99?
I think you're a big fan of flakes.
Like, why didn't I go for 100 or?
Do you know what was the most? That's like the most, I think, disappointing moment of one of the most disappointing moments of my life. The first time, like, I bought my own ice cream when my mum, rather than my mum and dad buying the ice cream, and 99s cost more than 99p. I thought it was just.
No, but they did when I was a kid.
And I thought
and that was only 2 years earlier than you.
And like, I think it was like £1.10. And I was like, well, hang on a minute.
What's going on here?
99, mate. It's got it in the name. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're trying to overcharge me. Mate. And it's like, yeah. And I just so upset, I think.
It broke you.
And once
that
again,
was the start of it all, wasn't it?
Food has been the moments that caused me the most emotion in my life. The people are just, they come and go.
Inconsequential.
But the food.
Couldn't give a fuck. But yeah, that changes you as a man.
It does change me. Do you know, I was messaging Ash, football correspondent, the other day, because he went to a barbecue and he was like, mate, it was really good barbecue. He's like, but
it's not American.
That one, the one we had in Toronto.
Yeah.
And he was like, fucking ruined me, because this barbecue was
really
good.
Odd
like, there was nothing.
To choose
there was
the
nothing,
barbecue.
and we weren't even. It looked really fancy and posh as well. And we were like, I don't know if this is our kind of place.
But
we were like, no, we fancy the food. It looked good on the menu. Oh, it's so good. Like, honestly,
Ash would look out of place in a posh restaurant, though. I'm not being horrible, but I've like, even when Ash has to dress up, he looks homeless.
We just give it big into the waitress as well, didn't we? When she brought it out and she was like. And we were like, oh, for two, is it? Oh, yeah, no problem, mate. And then by the end, we were like, yeah, that was for two. They know what they're doing. We do not. We were a couple of cocky Brits.
Yeah.
And then we had the cake, and it was just like, we thought we were going to get a slice of cake, but we got our own cake. And it was like, mate, like a third of the way through, I was like, fuck no, mate, this is killing me. But I'll give it big into the waitress now. I've got to see this through.
Yeah. Did you not take it to go, or did you not want the shame of?
I didn't want the shame. I didn't want the shame. I was like, no. I've made out like this is no problem, no challenge.
Yeah.
So this is no problem, no challenge.
Yeah.
But it was a challenge.
And you'd been on a health kick prior to the trip as well.
Yeah. It was the first. I think it was like the first week I'd really let myself go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like the food. Had these sandwiches in Amsterdam that were just like incredible. I mean, honestly, the food in my life.
The sandwich that made it, because you like, other than a bacon sandwich, there's not many sandwiches that make you go. Core.
There were two. But all those aside, there's been like 2 or 3 dishes that I'm like, I would go back
to that country
dishes,
just for that.
And I'll tell you now, there was a chicken in Epsom.
Right.
I was like, oh, so good. It was like corn-fed chicken. Oh, so good. There was the pork.
What was the chicken done? Fried? Was it? What sort?
I can't remember.
Chicken breast.
I just remember it was.
You don't even remember what the meal was.
Just
it was chicken.
Just gorgeous. And then there was the pork in pork belly in Switzerland in Bern.
Okay.
Incredible. I'd go back for it. I really would. But rather than be like, oh, do you know,
not the scenery, not the beautiful countryside.
I was, and it was a beautiful place we were sitting at. But that pork, I would go back for that pork. It was honestly, ask Ash next time you speak to him about that pork in. Just say like,
I'll ask him on the road trip.
Burn, like, what did you make of it? It's incredible. And when they're like, do you want it with, potatoes? So I'm like, no, mate, I want it with more pork. I just want 2 or 3 lots of pork.
Yeah, nothing else.
And then that barbecue in Toronto. There must be some meals for you that just stand out that you think
I'm not as well travelled as you.
You're as well eaten.
When you were talking about your chicken dish. There's actually a restaurant in Wallington called El Nido's.
Yeah, I know it.
And I haven't been there for years, but when we used to go, I used to get like the same food. I got smoked salmon and scrambled eggs, which was banging. They then did,
very posh,
I think it was chicken. Yeah, it was silver service.
Yeah, that is posh dish. That.
We normally went there for a wake or a big birthday.
Like, both happy occasions. But before we were talking about, and you were saying,
I'm pretty sure it was the night I lost my virginity, Jake.
Of course you did. But I'm pretty sure it was off air. We were talking about it, and you said that your missus thinks you're posh, and you were like, "I don't think I'm posh." And then you've just come out with.
Well, it was funny.
Did you actually go the night you lost your virginity?
Yeah.
Before, presumably.
My granddad had passed away. It was around my 19th
it was Wake.
birthday. And I wasn't going to go to the party, right? Because I was like, well, it's the day of my granddad's funeral. That feels wrong. One of our friends lost someone as well. And as I arrived at the place we were having the funeral for his family member was just finishing up. So we're like, it was a weird moment of being like, oh, you're right, mate. And then we were like, you going to the party tonight? And he was like, yeah, what about
Good party, that.
And then I went to this wake, which was at El Nido's. Beautiful food.
If anything, a wake is like the perfect pre-party.
Well, I had a couple of drinks as well because I was old enough and my dad was like, yeah, you can have a couple of beers. He knew I was going out. He was like, we'll get him warmed up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, mate. Your dad was always pretty cool on stuff like that.
Yeah, to be honest, booze has never been a big thing. Like, my parents were never like, I remember my dad had like a massive pint when I was a kid once and it looked nice. So like, I asked to try it and he was like, you're not going to like it. Like, it tastes horrible. And I was like, why are you drinking it? He was like, because I'm an adult. And
we should have had a drink. We should have bought. The thing is, like I said, I only remembered last minute because you reminded me that it was our 100th episode.
Yeah.
We should have bought like a bottle of prosecco. I was like, popped it off.
I don't
and
like
been
Prosecco.
Like, we don't have to like it.
No, but I don't want to buy it just to throw it away.
It's just for the camera.
Could we have not just got a fake bottle of Prosecco?
Do people not just buy things to throw them away?
No.
As a rich person,
not
I don't
during the
understand.
cost
As a
of
rich
living.
person, I don't understand that. I think
Not during the cost of living crisis
that
we're
was a
currently
fair
in. Jake.
game.
That's very insensitive.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is it? I'll tell the butlers to waste less. I'll tell them they can take some stuff home with them.
No, don't do that. That encourages bad behaviour.
Get them used to it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we can just help ourselves. No, you fucking can't.
I mean, trying to walk out with like our, Christmas goose
What was I talking about?
booze at the party, the virginity.
Oh, yeah. No, we were actually talking about
Food.
our favourite food.
Yeah, go on. So what was the main?
So it was chicken Diane.
Okay.
So it was like chicken with, I think it was chicken. But it had like mushrooms and this quite nice sauce on top. You got like really nice boiled potatoes, mange too. It was, looking back, yeah. And then the dessert was creme brulee.
I mean, it's such a posh. Like, even you've got to know how this sounds.
The thing is, though, I mentioned it to my sister, and I was like, if you actually think about it, we grew up upper working class. Because I was like, we went on holidays, we went out for dinner, like all the like measures of like the disposable income.
I mean, mine sound posh just because they're in other countries.
Yeah.
But I just save well and travel on a budget.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's the story I'm sticking with anyway. And never mind the fact that my parents fund it.
Yeah.
No, but I like
all the family inheritance.
It looks like I've got loads of money because I'm always going around all over the place. But
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm quite good at saving money and I'm quite good at travelling on a budget. I'm quite good at getting cheap trips and stuff.
Mm.
But yours sounds posh just because it is a posh meal.
Yeah, but it's not. It was like silver service, but like it's opposite a fucking train station. It's not like we're not uptown. Do you know what I mean?
Don't be throwing shade at the restaurant.
No, we went there for years. We actually went there for Christmas dinner one year.
Did you?
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like a traditional Christmassy food.
No, but they did. No, but they did a Christmas menu. It wasn't. We went there and had their usual food, which was like Spanish in theme.
You just sort of like clicking your fingers,
No,
like,
but we had
where's
like,
my
and it was silver service
where's my
Christmas
chicken
dinner as
Diane?
well. But yeah, it was silver service Christmas dinner, but we didn't really enjoy it.
If
like,
this podcast is going to produce a catchphrase, I feel like it's going to be silver service. Well, it's been said a lot in the last minute and a half.
well, it's not a phrase you hear very often, is it?
It is now.
Do you reckon the people at home know what silver service is? Have they ever been at a silver service restaurant?
I've never been.
No? So you don't know what it is?
No.
So like so I order chicken Diane, right? The plate comes over and it's literally just got chicken, the mushrooms in the sauce and the sauce on top. These people then come along with like bowls for your table. They've just been freshly made for you, like garlic butter, boiled potatoes, and they will serve you the accoutrement.
I've never been anywhere like that.
So like they were putting my mange too on my. They only serve it to you the first time. So if you want a second helping, you serve yourself.
You didn't even like do your own. Do you know what I mean?
I didn't serve my own mange too. No.
Why would you? If you're eating mange too, you're not serving your own.
And
mange
like they
too.
had the whole towel over the arm, all that bollocks.
Classic.
Do you know what I mean?
Classic.
And their control over a fork and spoon was impressive. They never dropped a potato. Ever.
Would you put that on your CV?
Never dropped
Never
a
dropped a potato.
My improvised tongue skills are just next level. That's what that guy
The thing
had.
is, I can't put that on my CV because I've dropped lots of food and I've eaten it all. I don't think I've ever, very rarely, and the floor has to be, and I just want to make this clear, hideously
Clean.
dirty
Okay.
for me to be like, I'm not even going to try and get that.
One of
If it's
the
even moderately dirty, if it's only moderately dirty, I will still consider going for it.
one of
If
the
if I'm quick.
saddest moments I've ever heard of / seen. My sister was round here once, and she was leaving the house, and she'd driven her car around it, and across the road, there's the street light.
Yeah.
Next to the parking space. Well, she backed up, hit the lamppost, didn't do a lot of damage to her car, but when she opened the boot, she had a brand new box of Krispy Kremes that fell out of the boot, and half the donuts came out of the
tragic.
box.
That's tragic. You don't even have your donuts to console you.
And she said
has
some
my
of them
full
weren't
sympathy.
covered in
Honestly,
gravel.
full
That's
sympathy
awful.
because that is horrendous.
That is
The
awful.
first thing I'd want to do if I'm in that kind of like little bit of
It's
shock,
just
a little bit
punch
of annoying,
someone.
being like, fucking car's got.
Give me one of my donuts.
I want my donuts. I want my donuts. I'm comfort eating in that moment.
Yeah. We'll have to get my sister on.
I'd love to have
She
your
has
sister on.
demanded
I would love to have your
come
sister on.
So we'll have
Obviously,
to.
you've established that you're the funny one. You've established that.
The thing is, I've said to her, I have no, because I said to her, like, what do you want to come on and talk about? And she was like, I don't know.
Fucking contest that.
And
Dave,
I
for a
was like,
start.
do we do it Alex style, where we have some questions
Just
for
get
her?
to know
Like, you
you.
might have questions. Like, I said to her, like, borderline interview you without interviewing
100%.
you.
I want to know what it was like for the fact that you got presents on her birthday. That's been in my mind ever since you said she wants to come on.
Yeah.
That's been like, I'm asking her that.
Yeah. She hated it.
Fucking don't doubt it. Sounds
I
horrendous.
used to think she was being a right belly.
Oh, you're so selfish.
I'd be like, what is your problem?
You got presents. What are you moaning about?
Basically. Because I was such a little wanker as a kid. My parents
Horrendous.
had to get me a present on my sister's birthday.
I'm so glad I didn't grow up with you.
They were never like properly wrapped up though.
So glad I never.
I didn't get the excitement of. I only got that once when my dad wrapped the big teddy bear in a black bag.
This podcast would just be pure resentment if I'd grown up with you. I think.
Thing is, on the other side of the coin, I'm just a nice guy and I'm funny.
And you're the funny one.
Yeah.
You're the funny. You make me laugh.
The thing is though, she's so desperate to be the funny one. Do you know what I mean? And if you're desperate for it, you can't. But like, do you know what I mean?
She's got a lot to contest when she comes on. I should just make a list of all the quotes you've said, like the claims you've made.
Well, the thing is, the more she listens to it, the more I do it.
Good. Because
Yeah.
the more she can contest it when she comes on.
Yeah, and the thing is, she's got a far better memory of me as well. So she's gonna be like, right, and this, and I'm gonna be like, I don't remember, to be honest with you.
I'm all here for it. I would say that's the first time I'd be happy to go to like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When
She actually said it will have to be an extra long episode.
when we're ganging up on you, I feel like that's just enough incentive
I'm
to
actually
take
gonna
it
have
to
to
long
have the
form.
camera on charge while we're recording.
And I feel like that's just right
Mm.
to really air your dirty laundry.
Yeah.
But happy 100th.
Yeah. So back to the first episode, Jack. It was 36 minutes long, right? And we discussed
We talked about a lot.
Brexit, football.
Yeah.
We hate the money in football. I didn't like Neymar, and then I put in brackets, still don't. English football brings all the sheiks to the yard. That was a comment I came out with when we were talking about the money in football.
Any quotes from me?
And then
Or did you only listen to your own funny quotes? Obviously.
you then made a comment about, like, if a sheik bought a city, like, if they went and bought Newcastle, they'd own the city, and that, ironically, has come true.
What can I say? I'm a prophet. I'm a prophet, like a.
And then
a
I
fortune teller.
proclaimed
But,
after you
know.
said that I would go gay for a sheik, to which you agreed.
Oh yeah, for the money, I'd be.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd be. I still would. I'm desperate for money.
Could you live under Sharia law, though, Jake?
I'm desperate for money. Let's
We
just make
all
that
are.
very clear. There's a lot of.
Would he let you go travelling, though? I feel like he's going to be too demanding, too expectant.
Yeah, I'm a man. I mean, we're in like a gay relationship, but I'm a man.
The thing
I
is,
think I still
you've
have
got
more.
one over on him if you think about it. Because if you let the people back in wherever he's from in the Middle East know, he's getting lynched to death. They don't like it over there.
Well, maybe they're not doing it right.
But they don't. They famously don't like gay people.
Maybe what they really need,
like,
is like a guide on anal sex.
Like, I was listening to something about the Qatar World Cup the other day, and the people running it. Do you know what they're called?
What, the people running the World Cup?
Yeah,
wankers.
the Supreme Council.
Brilliant.
And some journalists were asking them about concerns they have about like the World Cup, and one of them was, "You've not said a lot about gay people wanting to come," and they were like, "Everyone's invited," and that's just all they said. We hated the end of Game of Thrones.
It's sat better with me now, but I still don't like it.
We mentioned the Lord of the Rings Amazon series was in development.
It's just
3 years ago. It's only just
out.
come out, and it's had mixed reviews. I've not watched it yet.
I've not watched it.
I'm waiting for the whole thing to be out, and then I shall sit and
I'm
watch
sure
it.
I'll get round to it.
We hated the How I Met Your Mother ending.
We just go off
you
on
then
endings or
mentioned
something.
the ending of The Sopranos, to which
I
I
liked
hadn't
it.
watched, and I still haven't watched 3 years later. You ended by offering high fives and hugs for views, which escalated in the next episode to hand jobs.
I remember lifting it up a notch. I
And
don't
we
remember starting
mentioned we
out.
were struggling with tech in the first episode, and so
don't-
we've maintained that thing.
I don't remember starting out. Well, hang on.
Sorry, I
we-
forget you don't do anything.
I turn up.
Yeah.
I expect you to have it all good, and then I leave.
And 99.9%
You're
of the
the
time I
ideas
do
man.
this, just the odd.
Yeah, I don't remember starting out so innocently with hugs and high fives. In my mind, I went straight to hand jobs.
So did I. I assumed
I
you
thought-
started at hand jobs. I think
I'm
basically
such a filthy slag.
the first episode you felt a bit nervous. You're like, I'm just offering out high fives and hugs, and then from the next week you were like, I want your views. I'll toss you off for 'em. Just give us a like. I'll lick your bumhole.
The offer still stands. Anyone who writes us a 5-star review on Apple does get
Would
a
you
hand
rim
job.
someone for a
If
download?
they'd have to leave a 5-star review on Apple and a comment.
Speaking of reviews, you can now leave a rating on Spotify for a podcast.
They would
They've
have to
added
leave
it.
a 5-star review on both Spotify
To
and
get
Apple
rimmed.
to get rimmed,
Wow.
and they'd have to be clean.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going in there.
What
bulldogging.
if? So let's go there. Would you rim Alex?
If he'd washed and he'd left us a 5-star
What if
review?
he just like night before he's done a 12-hour shift? He stayed late. He's been on his feet for 12 hours. He's got up the next day, still not showered. You've got to go around there for.
Mate,
when
no,
he
he's showering
wakes
first.
up
I'm not
and-
doing it without a shower. That's. I stand by the offer.
You'd snuffle
I've
for
said
truffles, though, would you?
I snuffle for truffles, but in a clean forest.
So you'd
you
make
know.
him douche.
Not like after the rainfall's been and it's all trudged up into muck. You know, it'd have to be a clean
And it's going
forest.
to be hairy, wouldn't it? Would you make him shave first?
Ideally, yes, but I can't be picky.
You're going to do this for everyone.
Yeah,
It's got to
but
be
they have to
clean
clean.
and shaved.
They have to be clean.
Minimum clean.
Minimum cleaned.
Okay.
And I just want to point out that this in our 100th episode compared to our first
You're
episode,
now rimming.
I'm being offered. I'm not offering to come round and give people rim jobs.
Well, it pretty
My
much sounds like
co-host
you're
is-
willing to.
No, I'm willing to, but my co-host is offering me.
I'm not going to offer myself.
Why
am
don't
I?
you put your own tongue on the line?
With all due respect, I do the tech. You don't even do the social media at the moment.
And I'm busy on Sundays. I
So-
don't know what you want me to do. I've taken up hobbies.
I want you to do the fucking socials.
I've got to start working
Quite
my tongue.
often it gets to the Monday and I'm like, oh, fuck, the socials.
I've got to start working my tongue up. I've got to get that tongue strength if I'm going to be doing all these rim jobs.
I'm already carrying enough responsibility for this pod. You can't ask me to snuffle for truffles.
No, I'll handle that end. But I didn't offer it. You offered it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did the mental maths. And let's be honest, but I
You
think...
worked out my value to the pod.
Well, also, I worked out of the two of us who's going to be the one people are more likely to want to get rimmed by. And
I don't
reckon
think
it's
that's
you.
accurate. I don't think that's a fair.
What, so you think more people want to be rimmed by me than you?
Well, I don't think there's going to be an obvious split. I think it'll just be like toss a coin. I mean, toss
I
a coin
feel
probably is
like
a euphemism for something
You've
that we
got
could do.
a smaller face.
Yeah.
You're smaller in general. Do you
I'm
know
not
what I mean?
crawling in there. Fuck me.
No, but
I'm
I
not
feel like
living in it.
it would feel
I'm
less...
not taking out a little
I
hammock and having a
think
rest in there.
It would feel less alarming
To have
looking down
me.
to see you snuffling for truffles than seeing me
I
snuffling
don't
for
think there's a difference.
and I'm just not willing to do it. So
I don't think there's a difference. But in terms of people
Right.
wanting,
let's put. All right, I've got another one. You get approached, right, and they're like, you can be the level below a podcast of a Joe Rogan, right? So we're hitting hundreds of thousands of views a month. You know, not quite at the top level.
am I getting paid for
We're
it?
making money. Of
making
course we are.
money,
If you're at
fine.
that level, you're getting the sponsorships are starting to come in. All of that. We're going to get our own studio. It's going to be our job. We no longer need to work. The podcast
Cool.
is his job. But you have to rim Joe Rogan after a heavy workout.
Mate, I don't really like Joe Rogan.
No, but that's the point.
What's the position we're talking?
What do you mean?
Like, is it doggy? Can I pretend it's someone else? Or is it... Are we
No,
talking
he's laying on his
laying on his
back,
back, looking
legs
at me.
behind his head, staring
Changes
at you.
it. It does change it. I don't think I could do that.
Staring you
I don't think I
down.
could do that.
But think of the lifestyle.
Yeah, but think of my mouth. Do you know what I mean? Think of the trauma.
If I take away the heavy workout?
If you take away the heavy workout and put him on all fours,
No, it has to be.
no, I just can't.
But you could do it if you couldn't see his face.
Yeah, I could pretend it's someone else. That's fine.
All right.
If I'm getting
I'll
paid
let-
for it,
If he's fine with that position,
message him.
The-
See what he says.
should I clip this bit up and just tweet it to Joe Rogan and be like, look,
Got an offer.
can you make this happen?
Got an offer.
We will both rim you if you
There
make
you
us
go.
huge.
There you go. You can do the front. You can do it while he's on his back.
I've got to be honest, for that level of success,
You would.
for,
It's a one-off, isn't it?
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It's a one-off. I'm not.
no one's
going to
know either. It's not like we're live streaming it.
You say no one's going to know.
Joe Rogan knows.
When we publicly put this offer out, and then like 6 months from now we're in some nice fancy studio doing it for a living, I feel like 2 and 2 maybe
I'm
put
still
together.
sort of okay with that though, aren't you?
Oh, I not listen.
We
I've got
know
no
there's
shame
actors
in
and actresses out there that have got up where they are.
Personally, no
rushing
shame
off
in
the right
sleeping my way
person.
to the top. Absolutely none. Everyone can know it.
What if he asked for a cheeky finger?
Mean,
And which one would you use?
I guess maybe like the little one.
Because you use that the least.
Yeah. Well, that's going to interfere the least.
What
I've got.
hand? It's got to be your left.
Left.
If,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you
yeah.
eat with your
Left.
right.
Yeah. Gotta be.
But so as long as you can turn him away.
Yeah, as long as I don't have to look at, as long as I don't have to be reminded that it's Joe Rogan.
What if he just lays flat
I'll tell you
down
what's a
on the
deal
bed
breaker
and you're
now.
like,
He can't stop talking throughout it.
Well, he's had to moan. He's
Oh yeah,
allowed to
moan. He
enjoy
can't
it.
stop doing as if he's doing an episode or something.
What if he's like, yeah, daddy?
He can't stop being like, have you heard this thing? I'm like, well, no,
I still don't reckon you've probably ever listened to an episode of Joe Rogan.
not an episode. I've
No.
listened to clips.
Yeah, clips don't do it though.
No, they really don't do him any justice at all.
No.
They don't.
Well,
do
the
him any
problem is
favours.
his USP is long form. Do you know what I mean? And it's longer than most.
Which is great,
podcasts.
but I don't like long form.
No, but it then means for me, whenever I watch clips of his, it's very easy for it to feel like misrepresented because you've not had the half an hour of build up to that statement of like qualifiers and do you know what I mean?
That makes no difference to me. I'll judge anyone for anything.
Yeah.
I don't
So-
need context to judge someone.
Oh, that was an interesting question. You didn't ask me if I would do it.
What if you would put a cheeky little finger up?
Whether I would rim him.
You offered to. You
Well,
said you would.
yeah.
I didn't need to ask. You said you would. You said for that level of fame, even I would rim him. I don't need to ask.
I think I'd enjoy meeting him as well. It's like
Bit weird.
compart
Would you want to meet first or meet after? That is the question. Would you want to meet
You'd have
first
to
and then
meet
you
him
know him
first.
going into it, or would you want to do it afterwards and the first time you meet you both know what's happened?
No, you'd have to do it first, wouldn't you? I'm just gonna
Don't know. You
I'm
tell
gonna
me.
approach him. I'm like, you're right, Joe, mate. Absolute honour. Love the pod. Look, we know this is going to be awkward. My suggestion: get on the bed, get them off, and we'll just crack on with it. Do you know what I mean? Put on whatever music you like. We'll set a mood. Let's get this bad boy done. Do you know what I mean?
I thought you upped it a level.
No, but
Mine
like,
was like a
it's
very.
going to be an awkward moment otherwise,
Mine
isn't
was
it?
a very professional favour rim job. You've turned it into a romantic
Yours wasn't
moment.
professional. Yours was very like medicinal.
Yeah, there's a formality to it.
Yeah.
But you're from music. What are you gonna do? Like light candles?
If that would
How
make him
far
feel
are we
more
going there with a little
comfortable.
incense going?
Look, I'm all about the experience, bro. I'm a generous lover.
I
Okay.
feel like I want to remember that as like as little as
And
possible.
look, whatever I do sexually, I try to do to the best of my ability. So if
I don't
I'm-
want to be walking through a
if
shop.
I'm snuffling for truffles, I'm snuffling for
But
truffles.
I don't
bro.
want to be walking through a shop like smell a Yankee candle or something and be like, oh, do you remember that
Brought
time?
back
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I don't want.
Well, choose a scent you really hate. Do you know what I mean?
Joe Rogan's arsehole.
Yeah, but that's not a candle.
I bet it's got a scent though. I mean, if Gwyneth Paltrow can have her fanny as a candle, I'm pretty sure Joe Rogan can do his
that
bum
doesn't
hole.
actually smell of her vagina, does
How
it?
do you know? Have you ever smelled her fanny? Unless you've got a direct comparison, you can't say that.
It doesn't, though.
You can't say that.
Chris
though.
Martin said
Neither
it.
of us can
I
say
spoke
that.
to Chris Martin.
Oh, you and Chris.
Yeah,
Oh, Chris.
yeah,
You and Chaz.
yeah.
Good buddies.
He said it was a bit yellow.
I heard it was all yellow. Actually, I think we should get one band pun into
Per
every
episode.
episode.
Yeah, last week or the other week it was Imagine Dragons.
And this week it's just
I
Coldplay.
can't believe you're so anti-Imagine Dragons. by
Thing
the
is,
way.
I'm not. I'd actually see them live as well. It was just, again, there's something about when we were recording these, in the moment, I just get caught up into just picking a side for the sake of picking a
yeah,
side.
yeah.
And then I come out of it afterwards and I think, either I didn't care about that or I
Yeah.
thought, that's not how I
Like,
feel.
Imagine Dragons have written some bangers.
Yeah, I don't mind Imagine Dragons. And like I said, I'd go and see them live.
Fair enough. So would I. Right, my final question really is,
Pushing it.
yeah, well, we've hit the hour mark, so we're doing all right. What's your goals/dreams for the pod? I've sort of said what I would like.
100%. Like, if we're saying dream big,
For it to be the job.
for it to be the job.
Yeah,
If I could commit the time,
yeah,
if we could get to the point where we're recording a couple of episodes a week,
yeah.
but each episode we're spending a day or two before
Researching and
really
Well, the
looking
way
into
we
it and
could-
really
I'd-
coming
would
back.
be a good way to do it is perhaps one episode is either covering a specific subject or several subjects, and the second episode is maybe an interview or having someone on we know
Yeah.
and just having a fuck around.
And that as well, just to have more
Mm.
guests, like I said, just to have more
Well, I think we can
people
do that.
coming on. Plus,
one-
it helps when we do the deep dive episodes. It would help to be able to say, look, we're two guys who don't know anything about this
Yeah.
episode, but this person
Yeah.
lives the experience,
Yeah.
whatever it is, so let's,
Mm.
that kind of stuff.
No, I agree. And also,
What about
I
yourself?
can't believe I haven't said it before. I've actually got another new boss at work. And one of the questions he asked me was why I was doing all the later shifts. And I basically said it wasn't anything to do with me. It's just what's been happening.
That's what's been asked.
And he said, well, we'll have a look at it. So hopefully that means going forward I'll get a better variety of shifts. And
we can
that
fit
will
more
free
in.
us up a bit more, yeah.
What about, I know you've sort of said it already, but
I
what's
mean,
your
yeah, to like...
goals and dreams?
I would
with the
love
pod?
for us to have our own space. I don't care if it's a cupboard, but it will be our
a
cupboard.
dedicated studio
Yeah.
to, no matter how small it is.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be big enough because me and even Leanne have talked about. It was her idea. Was that when we get our own place, we try and get a 2-bed place, and the second bedroom be a studio for the podcast. And I said the only problem with that, I want it to be big enough to have 3 people in, because if you have, I don't want to do Zoom interviews particularly.
No,
we'll make an
I'd rather
exception
have people if
to
they're a
have
while
Ash
away,
on, for example, because Ash
or,
doesn't
or
live
if people
nearby
are living
anymore.
far away. We're getting people from all over the globe.
Yeah, then obviously, but in general, for like when we're having people
In your
like a
new
day
place,
yeah,
can I get a sex swing?
no,
I'll clean it.
no, that's the sex tank.
This is
That's just the aquarium.
It's the
Not,
aquarium,
it wasn't
it's
the
the
sex
aquarium.
aquarium.
the old sex aquarium. You've been watching The Boys.
Yeah, no, I haven't.
Oh wow!
I didn't know that was a thing. I mixed up
sex
the
aquarium.
Joey metaphor or
Yeah,
the Joey line.
doesn't matter anyway. It was,
No, but yeah, I'd love for us to have our own space. I'd love to have a better computer.
I think as well with the space, it
Um,
kind of helps you get in the headspace. It kind of helps you get in the mood,
Yeah,
in the mood for it.
Yeah, and to have like things in it we like. Like I've started trying to put silly
No, I've
things
seen.
on
I
the
like it.
table
I was
when we
going to comment on
record.
it, but I just I like
Um,
it. Is this Ironheart?
No, it's just Iron Man. It's
Oh.
a retro neon version.
And you got Pikachu and Jon Snow
Yeah, and then a
sword and
Viking
helmet.
hat. Yeah.
that lights up. I've seen you wearing this. You've taken a picture of it.
Yes, it does light
and
up,
sent
but I
it
thought
to
that would
me.
be too distracting on the pod.
I mean, there goes my idea.
Also, technically, it's not my Viking hat to use.
because I was going to say when we get our own, if we get our
It's
own
not
space,
Mrs.'s.
we should have uniforms, and they can be very skimpy. Light up.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Highlight all the right areas. We can stuff.
yeah.
We don't have to commit to our own bodies.
Like I do like the idea for our space to have like a table we sit at, and then the guest is sat on like a comfortable chair or a sofa or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
One of them kind of setups. Yeah, I like those setups.
But then that gets complicated because you've got to have a camera system with software that
like an AI software that picks up
that
speeches.
you're speaking, so the camera then goes to that person, and then but you sometimes need multiple cameras that it controls all.
And also, sometimes you need a reaction shot.
Yeah. So
For
yeah,
example,
so that's
when you were talking the other week, not to keep going back to it, but about the mini cheddar things.
Yeah.
Even though you were talking and the AI would pick up you, you want a shot of my reaction.
Yeah,
Because let's be honest, I was fuming.
And like that level of sophistication when it comes to camera work
is expensive.
Well, that and it's beyond me, so I don't even know how it works. We'd have
to learn it.
Yeah. So that's the sort of thing I'd like to do. It's to learn to do those things. I'd like to be more proficient. I can't do it at all. Like actual photo editing for like thumbnails and things like that, to be able to know how to do those sort of things. But yeah, so that's it for me. It's just keep growing it, I guess.
We're growers, not showers.
Yeah.
Although you do show it a lot as well.
No, that's Dave.
Oh, he does though. I mean, he's naked so much of the time. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, and from what I've heard, his children have.
I would not be surprised if he turns up. If we invite him on the pod and he turns up naked.
Yeah. Or like he'd be like, "Can I take my
naked.
shorts off and just sit?"
Yeah.
Like,
can I just sit?
I just need to be free.
Letting it
this.
all hang out.
Yeah.
Because then, especially if he starts shifting around, you just hear it moving. I don't know what the mic's going to pick up.
But also, I'm really interested to know, not that they'll necessarily respond, but what our listeners think. Jake, where can the people tell us what they'd like from us going forward?
Well, they can keep their negative opinions to themselves. But if they just want to actually tell us some nice things, they can do that by emailing us, crossingswords19@gmail.com.
Yeah.
They can hit us up, Crossing Swords, on Facebook, at Swords Crossing on Twitter, Crossing Swords _podcast on Instagram, and all of those we do check, we do respond to.
Yeah.
And also sometimes if you send us a message about something you want to hear in an episode and stuff, just because it doesn't come up immediately, it doesn't mean we've not stored it away.
Yeah.
We have, we have taken those in before.
But also, we'd love to know what you'd think about the Patreon idea about...
What do you want to hear for the next 100 episodes?
Yeah. Where would you like us to go? Would you be
Again, you can keep the rude answers to yourselves.
No, no, I'm happy to, if anyone's got any constructive criticism, any changes they'd like.
Constructive criticism.
I can't promise we'll always follow it.
If you ask the question,
board.
Where should we go? I feel like that answer.
Or fuck yourself, lad.
I mean, where was that?
Brammy?
I mean, it weren't.
What would you say?
Have you ever been to Birmingham?
No,
I don't think I could say. I don't think I could say go and fuck yourself in Bromley.
Or fuck yourself. No, that
You've
was...
gone too northern. Like
That was very
you're
northern.
quite high up the country.
I'm from Birmingham.
Good if you look.
Go fuck yourself. No, I don't know what that was.
Yeah, what do you go
All right,
fuck
lads,
yourself?
go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself, lads. Sort of ish, not really. But Bromley's one.
Oh, why you pet? Go fuck yourself.
I understood that. Like,
Yeah.
fucking keep them opinions to yourself.
Kawasaki.
Yeah, fucking. Oh, do you know what? I've been listening to this podcast with Gary Lineker and Danny Baker.
Oh,
And they've both got a shared interest. They've both got a mutual friend of Gaza.
We listen to very different stuff.
And it's the Gaza stories are so good.
To be honest with you, though, I've listened to quite a few podcasts where people like sort of glorify.
There was problems.
But when I hear the stories about him and like they talk about how he was doing all this crazy stuff, I just get sad because I'm like, while all you lot found it hilarious that he was blowing all his money and living a very stupid life, no one took him to one side.
There were some that weren't like big crazy stories. There was a story Gary Lineker told where he said what he used to do is before they did the warm-ups on match days, he'd fill the bath up like halfway, getting it to his waist and stretch in the bath, so the heat's kind of helping him stretch and whatever. And Gaza came in and was like, "Oh, you're always doing that." He's like, "Well, it helps me." He goes, "I think I should give it a go." He went, "Mate, yeah, why not? Try it." And he went in and he said he got out. Gaza got in. He went out, did like 20 minutes running around the pitch. He came back in and Gaza's in the bath, not stretched or anything. He's just laid out and started having a bath. And he's been in there for like half an hour. And he says he came on the first half. He was just running all over the place. He was giddy and he was like, "Well, you've just had a fucking bath. Like, of course you're all over the place." And then he was like, "It's not my fault." He said, "Fucking Lineker made me do it." Like sweet stories. There's some sweet stories.
But no, I find it quite sad when you hear about people when people bang on about Paul Merson and all I ever see from him now is talking about how shit his life is and that he's gambled every penny he's ever had, and it's just like,
could be worse. It could be on Crossing Swords.
I'd rather be on crossing swords than a alcoholic and gambling addict.
It's a shame that you happen to be all three.
Just don't tell Leanne. And on that note, guys,
you can say that. I can't say that 'cause otherwise I get the thing. I get the thing if I say that.
Yeah.
But Leanne deserves to know.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
And on that note, guys,
Happy 100.
Happy
Once
100.
again, happy 100. And to the people who've been with us since day one,
Thank
happy
you.
100 listeners.
Yeah.
100 episodes.
You're the OG sword crossers.
You're the ones we love. And the hand jobs are in the post.
They've
I promise
been-
you they're in the post.
They've been crossing swords since day one, mate.
They've been crossing our swords.
Yeah.
We've been crossing their swords.
I think we've all been crossing each
We've all
other's
been
swords.
there's just a lot of swords being
Yeah.
crossed in the mix
Yeah.
from day one.
There's
Like
a
I said,
lot of meat and I like
Like I
it.
said, those hand jobs are on the way.
Yeah.
They are in the post. I promise you.
And
They're with
look
Every.
forward
It's not my
to
fault.
seeing us in our brand new studio when we
See.
finished rimming Joe Rogan.
See you for the next 200, for the next 100,
Yeah, fucking hell, 200, eh?
and we're going big.
So that's 6 years
We're
it's going to
just gonna
take.
commit.
All right, guys, we love you.
All right.